Hello, and welcome back to our community. I want to start today by asking you a question that might feel a little too familiar. Have you ever woken up in the morning after a full night's sleep and still felt like you were dragging a heavy weight behind you? Or perhaps you hit that invisible wall around 2 in the afternoon where the idea of washing the dishes or taking a walk feels like climbing a mountain. If you nodded along to that, you are certainly not alone. But here's the thing that really frustrates me, and I bet it frustrates you too. When you mention this exhaustion to friends, family, or sometimes even your doctor, what do they say? They often shrug and say, well, you're getting older. It's just part of aging. I am here to tell you today that they are wrong. Constant dragging fatigue is not a normal part of aging. It is common, yes, but it is not normal. There is a very big difference between those two words. Just because many people experience it doesn't mean you have to accept it as your destiny. Feeling drained of energy is not the price of admission for turning 60, 70, or even 80. When we accept fatigue is inevitable, we stop looking for the cause, and that is where the danger lies. Because often, that tiredness is your body waving a little red flag, trying to tell you that something specifically needs your attention. And usually, it is something entirely fixable. In our conversation today, we are going to push aside the "it's just age" excuse. We are going to uncover 5 hidden causes of fatigue that sneak up on us after 60. These aren't the obvious things like running a marathon or staying up too late. These are subtle, stealthy energy thieves that might be operating in the background of your life right now. And the best part, once you identify them, you can often turn things around very quickly. We're going to walk through these together so you can reclaim that spark and get back to doing the things you love, whether that's gardening, playing with the grandkids, or just having the energy to enjoy a beautiful afternoon. Let's dive right into the first hidden cause, and honestly, this one is the most common culprit I see. Yet it is the one most people ignore because it seems too simple. I'm talking about the water in your body, or rather, the lack of it. We all know we need to drink water, but here's the secret about life after 60 that nobody tells you. Your body's thirst mechanism, that little signal that tells your brain, hey, I'm thirsty, actually starts to fade. When you were 30, if you needed water, your brain shouted at you. Now that you're older, that shout becomes a whisper, and sometimes it goes completely silent. This means you can be significantly dehydrated and not feel thirsty at all. It's like driving a car with a broken gas gauge. You think you have half a tank left, but you're actually running on fumes. When your body doesn't have enough fluid, your blood volume actually decreases. This makes your blood thicker, which means your heart has to pump much harder to push that blood through your system to get oxygen to your muscles and your brain. That extra effort your heart is making, that translates directly into you feeling tired, sluggish, and foggy. You might think you need a nap, but what you really need is a glass of water. I want you to try something starting tomorrow. Instead of reaching for the coffee pot the very second you wake up, try drinking a full glass of water first. Overnight, we lose so much moisture just by breathing. We wake up dried out. If you hit your system with caffeine immediately, which is a diuretic, you're just deepening that dehydration debt. It's a small change, but treating water like medicine, sipping it throughout the day, even when you don't feel thirsty, can be like flipping a switch on your energy levels. If your urine is dark yellow, your body is already struggling. Aim for that pale straw color, and you might be amazed at how much brain fog clears up just by keeping the tank full. Now, while water is about what we aren't putting into our bodies enough, the second hidden cause of fatigue is about what we might be putting in too much of, or perhaps in the wrong combination. This brings us to the prescription paradox. We live in a time of medical miracles, and many of us rely on medications to keep our blood pressure down, our cholesterol in check, or our joints moving. These medications save lives, absolutely. But as we age, our bodies process these chemicals differently than they did when we were younger. Our liver and kidneys work a little slower, which means medications stay in our system longer.
The hidden issue here is that fatigue is listed as a side effect on an enormous number of common medications, particularly blood pressure meds like beta blockers, antidepressants, and even some antihistamines you might take for allergies or sleep. Beta blockers, for example, work by slowing down your heart rate to lower pressure. That is great for your heart, but a slow heart rate can make you feel like you are moving through molasses. It acts like a governor on an engine, preventing you from revving up when you want to get moving. Furthermore, if you are taking 3, 4, or 5 different medications, which is very common after 60, you are dealing with what doctors call polypharmacy. The interaction between pill A and pill B might be creating a chemical soup that leaves you exhausted. It is not that you shouldn't take your medicine, but rather that you shouldn't assume the fatigue is you. It might be the chemistry. A really proactive step you can take is to do what pharmacists call a brown bag review. Once a year, put all your pill bottles, including the vitamins and supplements you buy over the counter, into a bag and take them to your pharmacist or your doctor. Ask them specifically, could any of these or the combination of these be making me tired? Sometimes simply adjusting the dosage or switching to a different class of medication or even changing the time of day you take them can lift that heavy blanket of exhaustion off your shoulders. It is about managing your health, not just swallowing what's prescribed and hoping for the best. You are the captain of your own ship, and you need to know if the cargo you're carrying is weighing you down. So, we have looked at the water levels in your engine, and we have looked at the chemical inputs that might be slowing you down. But there's another layer to this. Sometimes you can be doing everything right, drinking your water, managing your medications perfectly, and you still feel weak. You might be eating a healthy diet full of good greens and proteins, yet your body isn't getting the fuel it needs. This happens because, just like our thirst mechanism fades, our digestion changes in a very specific way that prevents us from unlocking the energy hidden in our food. It's a silent issue that affects millions of people over 60, and they often treat it with more coffee or sugar, which only makes the crash worse. This leads us directly into our third hidden cause, which has to do with the invisible chemistry happening in your stomach every time you eat a meal. So let's talk about that invisible chemistry. This brings us to the nutrient absorption block, specifically regarding one critical vitamin, B12. Here's the scenario. You might be eating a perfect diet. You're having your eggs for breakfast, a turkey sandwich for lunch, maybe a nice piece of fish for dinner. You are eating plenty of B12, but you still feel weak, maybe a little dizzy, or you have that tingling sensation in your fingers and toes. You go to the doctor and they check your iron, and it's fine. So they send you home. But the problem isn't what you're eating, it's what you're absorbing. You see, to get vitamin B12 out of food and into your bloodstream, your stomach needs to produce a strong acid to break that food down. But as we age, specifically after 60, the cells in our stomach lining often start to produce less and less acid. It's a condition called atrophic gastritis, and it affects nearly 30% of people over 60. Without that strong acid, the B12 stays locked in the food. It passes right through you. And without B12, your body can't make healthy red blood cells to carry oxygen. It's like trying to run a fire without oxygen. It just smolders. To make matters more complicated, if you suffer from heartburn and take antacids or acid-blocking medication, you might be accidentally making this problem worse by neutralizing the very acid you need to absorb your energy vitamins. It's a catch-22.
So what can you do? This is one of the easiest fixes on our list. First, ask your doctor specifically to check your B12 levels, not just your iron. And if you are low, the solution often isn't eating more steak, it is bypassing the stomach entirely. Many seniors find their energy levels skyrocket simply by using a sublingual B12 supplement, that's the little tablet that melts under your tongue, or getting a monthly B12 shot. When you bypass that low-acid stomach environment and get the nutrient directly into your blood, the lights come back on. You might find that senior moment brain fog lifting within weeks. Now that we've looked at the fuel going into the system, let's talk about the machinery itself. This brings us to our fourth hidden cause, and this one requires a little bit of tough love. It is the muscle energy trap. There is a misconception that as we get older, we should rest more to save our energy. We think of our energy like a battery that runs out. But the human body is actually more like a rechargeable generator. You have to move it to create energy. The biological reality is that after age 30, we start losing muscle mass naturally, a process called sarcopenia. By the time we hit 60 or 70, if we haven't been actively fighting it, we might have lost a significant amount of our strength. Here is why that makes you tired. Imagine you have a car with a big V8 engine. Cruising up a hill is easy. The engine hardly has to work. Now imagine swapping that engine for a tiny lawnmower engine. To get up that same hill, that little engine has to run at 100% capacity, screaming and struggling the whole way. That is what happens when we lose muscle. Everyday tasks, carrying groceries, getting up from a low chair, climbing the stairs, start requiring a much higher percentage of your maximum strength. Because these simple tasks are physically taxing your smaller muscles, your brain interprets this as exhaustion. You feel tired, so you sit down more. You rest. And because you are resting, your muscles shrink further. And then the next time you try to move, it is even harder. It becomes a vicious cycle. You are tired because you are weak, and you are weak because you are tired. Breaking this cycle is the single most effective way to reverse aging fatigue. And the good news? You can build muscle at any age. Studies show that people in their 90s can increase muscle mass with simple resistance exercises. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. You just need to tell your body, I still need these muscles. Try this simple habit. When you're watching TV, every time a commercial comes on, stand up and sit down in your chair 5 times. That's it. Those sit-to stands are basically squats. They strengthen your legs and your core. Or when you bring the groceries in, do 3 bicep curls with the milk jug before you put it in the fridge. By challenging your muscles just a little bit every day, you increase your engine size. Suddenly, climbing those stairs doesn't take 90% of your energy, it only takes 50%. And guess what? You have 50% left over to enjoy the rest of your day.
So we have hydrated the system, checked our medications, unlocked our B12, and started rebuilding our engine. But there is one final piece of the puzzle. It is the time when you are supposed to be recharging, but for many of you, it is actually when the biggest energy drain is happening. You might think you are sleeping, but your body might be fighting a battle all night long. This brings us to the 5th and final hidden cause, silent sleep apnea. Now, before you tune out because you think, I don't snore or I sleep 8 hours a night, please listen closely. Sleep apnea in seniors often looks very different than it does in middle-aged adults. You don't have to be overweight, and you don't even have to snore loudly to have it. As we age, the muscle tone in our throat softens, just like the muscles in our legs. When you lie down, that soft tissue collapses, blocking your airway. Here's what happens. You stop breathing for a few seconds. Your brain panics, shoots a little burst of adrenaline into your system to wake you up just enough to take a breath, and then you fall back asleep. This could happen 20, 30, or even 50 times an hour. You don't remember waking up, you think you slept through the night. But you didn't sleep, you suffocated and recovered, over and over again. You're spending 8 hours in bed, but you aren't getting into that deep, restorative REM sleep that cleanses the brain and repairs the body. If you wake up with a dry mouth, a headache, or if you feel just as tired at 7 a.m. as you did when you went to bed, this is a massive warning sign. And please don't ignore it. This isn't just about being sleepy, it puts a huge strain on your heart. The fix can be life-changing. It doesn't always mean the bulky CPAP mask anymore. There are dental devices that just slide your jaw forward a millimeter, or special pillows that keep you on your side. Even learning to sleep on your side, rather than on your back, can reduce these events by half. If you have tried everything else and you are still exhausted, ask your doctor for a home sleep study. It's easy, you do it in your own bed, and it might just give you your life back. So, let's take a moment to look at the big picture here. We started this video by saying that fatigue isn't just about the number of candles on your birthday cake. We have uncovered that it might be dehydration, fooling your brain, medication side effects slowing your heart, a lack of stomach acid blocking your B12, shrinking muscles making daily life harder, or hidden sleep issues stealing your rest. Think about that list for a second. None of those things are destiny. All of them are things you can manage, adjust, or fix. That is incredibly empowering. You don't have to settle for the rocking chair if you don't want to. You have the power to troubleshoot your own body. Maybe this week, you just start with the water. Next week, maybe you try the chair squats during the commercials. Small hinges swing big doors, and small changes in your habits can open the door to a vibrant, energetic life that you might have thought was gone forever. I hope this conversation has given you some hope and some practical tools to try. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to have the energy to enjoy these years you have worked so hard for. If you found these tips helpful, or if you have a trick of your own that helps you keep your energy up, please leave a comment down below. I read them, and our whole community learns from your wisdom. And please, do me a huge favor. Click that subscribe button and the little bell icon next to it. We have so much more to talk about regarding your health, your happiness, and living your best life after 60, and I don't want you to miss a single update. Here's to feeling awake, alive, and energized. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.